There's some new devastating reporting about Defense Secretary nominee Hegseth in the New Yorker magazine by Jane Mayer. I don't think he survives what has been reported by her with corroborating evidence. Let me start with the allegations that have now been disclosed by the New Yorker magazine right here on the MeidasTouch network. I'm Michael Popok. I'm at the intersection of law, politics, and the confirmation process, particularly about Hegseth. Let's jump in. People know the basics of his background. Formerly in the military, had been the head of a couple of veterans group funded by the Koch brothers, allegations of sexual assault. But now we have at least 6 or 7 different reports of financial mismanagement for organizations for which he was the head, draining their coffers to use, according to the reporting, for his own personal sexual conduct, behavior, and public drunkenness. We also have reporting that more detailed reporting about what is alleged to have happened in 2017, which now seems to be completely consistent with his background of public intoxication and inappropriate behavior with a woman that he met at a conference, and her allegations of having been raped by him in 2017. But the newest reporting that I have here in the New Yorker, which is basically doing the job along with media outlets of what the FBI would normally do to confirm a nominee. Apparently, we got 2 major bombshells coming out of the New Yorker. One is that in 2016, a Republican opposition researcher named Justin Higgins attempted to vet Hegseth for an undersecretary role in the first Trump administration. That was paid for by the Republican National Committee. Higgins later told MSNBC that he believes that after having done that vetting for the undersecretary position, that Hegseth is, quote, perhaps one of the least qualified picks for Secretary of Defense that we've seen, and was likely chosen because he was willing to say and do anything that Trump wants. He does not believe that he is qualified, having vetted him for an earlier position. The second bombshell is that this 2017 alleged sex assault, rape, was news to the Trump transition team, and they're pretty pissed about it. Apparently, they did not know about the Monterey incident in 2017. They did not know that the candidate, Hegseth, had a copy in his own possession since 2021 of the report and failed to turn that over. In particular, according to the New Yorker reporting, the transition team for Trump, doing whatever minimal due diligence that they're doing, was completely, quote, blindsided by the report and his failure, more importantly, Hegseth's failure to disclose it to the Trump team, because I guess they're relying on self-reporting for all of their due diligence. He also failed to disclose to the team that he had the report in his back pocket, which, according to the New Yorker and some anonymous sources, are damning revelations that should have been turned over to them. Quote, one advisor for Trump is alleged to have said to the New Yorker reporter, quote, when we ask, is there anything else we need to know about, that is usually a good time to mention a police report, a Trump advisor told Rolling Stone magazine. Obviously, the advisor continued, he remembered that this all happened, and there is no way, I don't think he could have believed this wouldn't come out once he got nominated. Look, the fiscal mismanagement goes hand in hand with the allegations of public drunkenness and being completely out of control. During all the times that I'm talking about, Hegseth was an officer in the reserves, either a captain or a major. He was a Fox News contributor or anchor. He was the CEO of 2 veterans organizations, and he was pulling down $180,000 a year. The 2 organizations, Veterans for Freedom, he put, according to the New Yorker reporting, he put into so much debt, basically using it as his own piggy bank, that there's whistleblower allegations of financial mismanagement and sexual impropriety and personal misconduct at Veterans for Freedom, which was funded by the Koch brothers, that they shut it down. He then opened up a new veterans organization, also funded by the Koch brothers, called Concerned Veterans for America, CVA, And that is where all the reporting in the New Yorker magazine comes out of, where there's at least, I counted it, at least 6 different whistleblower accounts and or emails about Hegseth being publicly drunk, sexually assaulting or abusing or harassing female employees of the company in a predator-like way, including once getting up on stage at a strip club and trying to dance while they were at an event. He apparently, according to these whistleblower commentaries, while he was married, he was using these events to chase women and to act inappropriately and in a depraved way. And secondly, when he got really drunk, I guess, he started chanting, "Kill all the Muslims," and then publicly urinating in front of the hotel where they were all staying. Now, look, just 40 years ago or so, John Tower, who was infamously nominated to be Secretary of Defense, had a shorter history of womanizing and public drunkenness. And that, when he got nominated by George H.W. Bush, and that nomination got killed. I just can't see Hegseth surviving this. And they have no one to blame on the Trump administration and the transition team than themselves. He should never have been nominated. They should have known about his basic failure to get through the screening process for undersecretary the last time around. That was conducted by Republicans. And they now have all of this information about and they would have gotten the information with a proper background check about his failed leadership and mismanagement and financial impropriety that's alleged through whistleblower reports in the 2 organizations that he ran before he got on the Fox News desk or Fox and Friends bench. So, and now they're shocked. We're shocked we didn't know about the Monterey police report. Whose fault is that? I'm also taking something... I'm interpreting something here. Tim Parlatore, who's the lawyer for Hegseth, who used to be a lawyer for Donald Trump until he fired Donald Trump noisily because he didn't want to continue with the Mar-a-Lago case because Trump was not listening to Parlatore about how to turn documents back over to the Department of Justice appropriately. He was listening instead to Boris Epshteyn, his insider consigliere, and that got Tim Parlatore frustrated, and he quit. He now represents Hegseth. Typically, at the end of a long day, I used to go for a scotch and soda or some other alcoholic beverage. But I'm sick of all the calories, nasty hangovers, bloating, and other negative health implications. Frankly, a glass of scotch and soda just doesn't cut it anymore. That's why I'm obsessed with Sol's new out-of-office THC gummies. Perfectly microdosed to get you blissed, not blitzed. This podcast is sponsored by Sol. Sol's new out-of-office gummies are perfectly microdosed with hemp-derived THC and CBD to give any day that chillin' on the beach vibe. Did you know you can now buy hemp-derived THC products in all 50 states? Because of the 2018 Farm Bill, hemp-derived THC is now legal and accessible nationwide. I can't believe I didn't know you could buy THC products online like this. The out-of-office gummies help you get that much-needed me time at the end of the day, or even during the day. They're convenient and delicious. Out-of-office gummies give you that warm, fuzzy, euphoric microdose feeling without sending you to the moon. You can go for a jog, watch your favorite TV show, or head out to a party, whatever floats your boat. Sometimes getting high can cause its own stress. Being too high is a thing. Microdoses of THC can keep you feeling good without the anxious thoughts. Sol was founded 5 years ago by brother and sister duo Mike and Angie Lee. Mike is a former world-ranked professional boxer, and Angie is an author and professional speaker who had the desire to create natural alternatives to medication that tackle problems they deal with themselves, like sleeplessness, anxiety, focus, and pain. And that's not all Sol's got. Whether you're looking for a sleep aid, enhanced focus, or pain relief, Sol has all your wellness needs covered. And Sol's products are grown right here in the USA, organically farmed and gluten-free. This holiday season, give the gift of Sol. Head to getsol.com and use code LEGALAF for 30% off your order. That's 30% off your order using code LEGALAF. One last time, getsol.com and code LEGALAF for 30% off. Now listen to this. 2 weeks ago, I heard Parlatore say in one of his interviews that if this quote unquote woman, it's always this woman, who they say was the aggressor, comes forward with her rape allegations and brings it forward to the Senate. It'll be the Senate Armed Services Committee is the committee that would be doing the initial part of the confirmation. If they do that, they're going to sue her. Well, now this new reporting that's in the New Yorker sort of changes that. And now when they reached Parlatore for comment, he didn't say we're going to go after her. What he said was that, and listen to this little nuance here. Tim Parlatore, when reached for comment by the reporter, Jane Mayer, for the New Yorker magazine about these allegations, said, and he was reading from an advisor to Hegseth, not himself, not Parlatore vouching for Hegseth anymore. He's saying, an advisor of Hegseth wants me to tell you, oh, here we go. Could you give yourself more distance between you and your client? That all of that is false, and if you would know that if you ever really conducted proper journalism. That's a pretty weak tee from where Parlatore was just 2 weeks ago, where he was vigorously shaking his fist at the accuser. I mean, because now there's not even, for instance, even to try to preempt this New Yorker magazine story, the Hegseth team sent out or they had Breitbart News, actually, which has become basically the Trump talking points, Trump outlet. Breitbart News tried to critique the New Yorker magazine article without having seen it, and said they're going to rely on an email from a disgruntled female attacking Hegseth, and this is why it's wrong. All right. Well, what they didn't know is there's not just one email that the New Yorker got their hands on. There's it's almost a dozen emails and testimony and the whistleblower report and the Monterey police report. And there we are. They even interviewed the woman involved in the sexual assault, as she's alleged, about what went down there. And, I think what we're learning here is that given enough time, and fortunately, Donald Trump, probably drunk on winning, basically high on winning, decided now early that he would name his cabinet well before the 119th Congress returns on the 3rd of January. But that's also given quite a lot of time, almost a month, for the freedom of the press to do their job, the press to do their job, for us to do our job, to get information, to report on it, to do the background checks, to sniff around these obscenely unqualified, unfit candidates, the ones that Stephen Chung on behalf of Donald Trump claims are all high caliber and extremely qualified. We know better. And the press is finally getting around to doing their job and bringing these people down to size. And so I think that was a mistake by Donald Trump. It's good. It's playing into our hands of doing proper reporting, but the mistake was he should have named these people closer to Jan 3, giving the press little time to do their job. But he's left 5-6 weeks. And so we get to talk a lot about all of the allegations of financial mismanagement, impropriety, personal impropriety, misconduct, public drunkenness, attacks on women, and the like for somebody like Hegseth. Wait till we turn our attention to RFK Jr. more, to Tulsi Gabbard more, to Dr. Oz more, to Russ Vought for the Office of Management and Budget. We're going to have to do it because there's not going to be any FBI investigations of these people. And you can see the transition team for Donald Trump is being caught kind of flat-footed. And I put that on Susie Wiles, the incoming chief of staff, and the rest of the transition team, like Howard Lutnick and Linda McMahon. They didn't do their job. What job did they do? They all got into a smoke-filled room and decided we're not going to vet anybody and hope they catch us. All right, we're catching you. Now what? Now it's up to the Senate, in this case, the Senate Armed Services Committee, and the minority leaders of that, the Democrats who will be the minority, like Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut, and the other people who are on the committee that are members of the military, to get this guy out and have him drop as nomination. Based on this reporting, I got to tell you two things. We saw Gaetz get pulled after 8 days. It was the third fastest in cabinet history. Hegseth's been hanging on, but I think this Bronco is going to buck him and throw him off. My telling moment in the article is when Tim Parlatore didn't even defend his own client. He just recited something from an advisor of Hegseth. To me, that's a signal that he doesn't even believe his own client. And if the reporting is to be believed, that the Trump transition team is pissed as hell at Hegseth for putting him in this bind, you might see a please and thank you. Pete Hegseth's got some work to do on his family. He's got effectively 2 out-of-wedlock babies. One, he married the mother right after. And the second one, he fathered the child, divorced wife number 2, and married wife number 3, who he's still married to. So he's got a whole broken chain. There's a whole trail of broken tears, whatever you call it, broken hearts with Hegseth, and sexual assault and rape and allegations and the rest. Continue to follow it right here on the MeidasTouch Network and on Legal AF. If you like what we're doing, subscribe to the MeidasTouch Network, and then come over to Legal AF and our YouTube channel, where we sit at the intersection of law and politics, just like this, and hit the subscribe button there. We're doing 6 or 8 different videos a day over there as well. And then you can catch me on MeidasTouch and on Legal AF. I'm Michael Popok, and I am reporting. In collaboration with the MeidasTouch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel, where I'll be curating the top stories at the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.